How do guys? Welcome back to Edgar TV. This is not clickbait. This is a real problem that's going to be emerging and has kind of been emerging for a while for darts fans, dart players, dart collectors, certainly anybody who likes to be dabbling in a bit of the old purchasing of the tungsten. This is something we spoke about for a while. I pointed this out on this channel round about a month or two ago, and people say maybe they should have listened, and now is the time to strap in and listen, because if you're looking for your next set of darts, I would suggest get them now. Now, this of course is no benefit to me if you go do this now or later, but heed the warning. Josh Pearson on X put this message out not too long ago, and I can add a little bit more insight to this with things I am hearing right now within the industry. It's regarding the price of tungsten. Tungsten is the biggest material that we are using in our equipment for darts, and look at the price rises here. This is pretty accurate, to be fair, where we're looking at those prices going up. A year ago in February it was £44 per kilo. Now 224. I can tell you this is outdated, that the price has actually gone up since then and is due to rise even further. Projections at the moment are suggesting that we are expected to be over the £300 mark per kilo in the very near future. That is worrying signs. This is why you're seeing your favourite darts, your brands, start to go up in price. I estimated before between £16 to £14 price rise. That's what we've seen already. We are going to see that again in the very near future, with most brands averaging maybe around about the £10 mark. So let's just first run some maths. £300 per kilo. 1 kilo is 1,000 grams. So if we're going to look at a 25 gram set of darts, that is a set of darts, so it's times 3, 75 grams required. So 75 grams of our 25 goes into the 1,000 sets is 13.33 sets, maximum put. That is just raw material, not including waste and things. So that is, if we could literally just maximize that full kilo, we'd be able to make 13 sets. So if we take our 13 sets and we divide it by our £300, that would give us a cost of £23.07. That is just raw material with zero waste on a 25 gram set. Do you now see why darts are no longer 10 to 20 pounds? That's just raw tungsten. From there, you've got to add a lot of extras on. That's just raw material. We've then got to look at the process of turning it into a dart. We've then got to look at the process of going through the machine for all the cuts. We've then got to look at things like coatings, because a lot of darts have colours or coatings in them now. We've then got to look at the shipping to get it over to the... We've then got to look at the import charges. We've then got to look at taxes. We've then got to look at staff, packaging, everything that goes with this. Generally, I see a world here where we get very few darts now, the way this is going, that is going to be under £100 under the current regime. Another real key interesting point here is the rapid increase in the cost of tungsten. Now, what tends to happen is you design a dart, you send it over, you get your quote, and then you've got a time of which you can put that through. And don't think buying bulk is going to... Buying bulk does reduce it. The more darts you order, obviously, the more it goes down. But it's not overly that significant that it's going to make a massive, massive difference in regards to the end of the line. And you put a quote in. Now, when you put that quote in, it would normally be honoured for around about 6 months. However, with the rising costs of tungsten, we are now looking at, when you put a quote in, we're roughly around about 2 days to make a decision before that quote needs to be re-quoted at a higher rate. So you get about 2 days to make your decision once you get that initial quote. In some cases, I've heard of darts now being quoted in 6 hours. You need to make your decision in 6 hours. If your decision is not made, we will have to re-quote this after the 6 hour period is gone. That is how crazy the price is just fluctuating on a day-to-day basis, that you can't even have a quote honoured for more than a couple of days right now. Remember, this is using that bottom end figure. It's projected to go a lot further over the £300 mark. So what is the solution? What's going to happen? And how is this going to be combated? And what are you going to notice? Well, the obvious, I've already mentioned it, that the price is going to keep increasing in regards to what we see. at consumer level. That is inevitable. But what else could we see happen? How could this become battered? How could this become more sustainable? Well, I think what we're going to see is we could see a reducing tungsten percentage. Over in Asia, you see a lot of darts that are 50 or 60% tungsten. I think we could start seeing different blends of darts. What that'll do will make the dart a little bit softer, but it's not going to be something you're ever really going to notice. So we may start to see a lower in tungsten percentages in regards to darts where 90 and 95% become super premium darts. We could also see a reduction in the weight, because obviously a heavier dart needs more material. So we may even see darts stopping being manufactured sort of 26, 28, or they may become very limited in regards to the runs of which they do. One thing for certain I think we're going to see is a differential in price. So at the moment, if you was to buy the Matt Edgar darts in 21, 23 or 25 grams, they would all be the same. You'd be paying £60 for whatever the weight. We may start to see a differential here, that the 25 grams and the 28 grams and the 30-gram darts will actually cost more, where we may see a differential of around about £20, depending on the weight of the dart of which you are using. Obviously, the heavier you are, the more material you need, the more tungsten, you're going to be driving up the costs. So I think we're going to start seeing that split. Now, one thing I don't see happening is brands reeling things back a little bit and going quite simplistic in the approach. Maybe we'll take the coatings off. Maybe we'll just reduce the cuts a little bit. We'll reduce the costs elsewhere in the manufacturing so that it doesn't impact the consumer. You walk into a dart shop, you see things like this. Big glossy boxes, great packaging, colours through the darts, and you put something simple up against it, you're going to be drawn to the big glossy colour-coated darts. So I don't think that's really a viable option in regards to, we might see some more simplistic darts come out, but I think consumers are still going to want these type of darts, which means I don't think that market is going to be overly catered for in my predictions over the next 12 months. And my final thing to bring up here is the rising costs of sponsorship. With the extra exposure of darts and with people going more into management stables, the cost of acquiring a player constantly increasing. Whenever you buy a player's dart, that fee is sort of incorporated into the cost of the dart because they need to recoup the money back for the player. So I think certainly in regards to a player's dart, we are very rarely, if ever, going to see it under £100 moving forward. And I think generic pricing cost is going to go up. I'm going to ask you guys what you think a cost of a dart should be. I mean, I'm still from the era where I got a £10 set from Argos. I played in the World Championships with them. So I still find this price is quite bonkers. People that come into the game are sort of used to it. This is just the norm. I heard recently through a bit of conversation that people assume the average cost of a price of darts is around about the £50 mark. I would say that's due to go up to probably about the £75 mark, with common around about the 100. Let me know in the comment section though, guys, what do you think the average cost of a dart is, and are you concerned about this? Because I see no other solution right now. 3D printing's been trialled. Cheaper materials like brass have been trialled and been used for many years, but the dart just gets thicker. I think the only way around this is unfortunately to spend more pennies. Hopefully there's a solution in the near future. Catch you soon.